We're back. It's another episode of This Life Ain't For Everybody. Y'all know who our presenting sponsor is, and that's why these episodes are so special. Coming straight out of Lynchburg, Tennessee, the home of the one and only, the iconic Tennessee Sour Mash Whiskey, Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels, enjoy it responsibly. Never allow underage drinking. Jack believes in our culture. We take Jack with us wherever we go, but again, in moderation, always responsible. They believe in our cooking, our culinary, our outdoor lifestyle, living off the land, conservation, environmental concerns concerning habitat, all of the animals that we pursue. Jack Daniels keeps the animals close to their heart. And let me tell you something about animals when it comes to Jack Daniels. We've had a heck of a time getting turkeys to respond around the Lynchburg, Tennessee area. And when we got back to our Airstream trailers today, there was 4 huge longbirds, and I mean absolute ropes, laughing at me and the rest of the crew. I took it very personal. I didn't take it the most personal, though. My boy Tommy Miller took it very personal. So keep that in mind. Jack Daniels is all about the preservation of our natural resources and our wildlife across this country and across the world. So thank you, Jack Daniels. And today's episode is so awesome. Y'all heard my conversation with master distiller Chris Fletcher. Now I have the assistant master distiller Lexi Phillips, the first female to be appointed to this position. So we will get the congratulations out of the way. Congratulations, Miss Lexi.
Thank you. I'm so very excited to be in this role.
This is amazing to have you around us. I've gotten to know you a little bit over the last 72 hours. You're a gem. We also have one of my best friends in the world. You've heard him here on the podcast before. He sings the theme song of this podcast, What You Gonna Do When the Money's All Gone, that he wrote with our good friend Drake White. He also has been on several episodes of The Foul Life over the last 10 years. I met this man in Hopkinsville, Kentucky at Turkey Camp. 10 or 11, 12 years ago already, you were singing 50 Years Too Late during a freaking downpour out on a deck. And I said, who is this guy? Leith Lofton, what's up, Hoss?
Hey, buddy. Good to be here.
Oh, it's good to have you. You're holding that thing they call a guitar.
Yeah.
The picking machine. You're going to
bless us. Around about this time of year, too, when we met, because
it's Turkey Camp.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey Camp.
My favorite time of year.
I actually saw turkeys, though, on that trip.
Oh, you saw them when you saw some big ones right up the hill there.
Yeah, this place is so, like, you hear about Lynchburg, and you hear about the culture, and it's a dry county, and it's the home of Jack Daniels, and 75% of the people that live in this area work at the distillery or some part of the Jack Daniels. There's 750 employees at this location for Jack Daniels. We ate at a place that you can talk about a little bit, but the scholarships that they give out and everything that Jack is involved in, I mean, they're just, they are an amazing company and brand. So what is it like right now? What are you feeling, Lexi? Like, is it different waking up right now? Is it a different feeling? I know that you're a humble lady, but is it a different feeling knowing what you're getting ready to embark on over the next several years of your career?
It really is. I think, so when I got this job, it was actually about 6 months ago. And y'all, I think it's taken this long to actually sink in. Because, of course, getting this new position in COVID times is a little different than it would have been before then. But it has given me a good way to ease into this position. Because doing a lot of interviews and podcasts like this, I haven't been as used to that as being a distiller for the last 6 years. There's not many podcasts over in the distillery. But, honestly, it really, when I first got this job and that came out, it came out internally, and I was so excited to really just have a dream job. Being the first woman in this position, it didn't even really sink in that this is more than a dream job. This is making history at Jack Daniels. The first night that it came out internally, I was just on cloud 9. And I had actually gone to the local marina. We were seeing a band down there, and ran into actually one of our tour guides, and in the women's bathroom of all places. We didn't know each other that well, but she came up to me and she hugged me and told me how proud she was of me and what I'm doing for women at Jack Daniels. And I mean, it still almost gives me chills now, because I mean, that means so much. And there's been a few occurrences like that is just, I mean, you feel that in your soul. You don't even think about that. Because like growing up, everybody knew the master distillers, Jimmy Bedford, Jeff Arnett, now Chris Fletcher, and they were just held in such high regard. I never thought I would be able to work alongside the master distiller at Jack Daniel's. Not because I'm a woman, but I mean, how do you even get involved in something like that? How do you start training to be a distiller? So being in the rural area we're at, I went to school for agriculture and ended up here at Jack Daniel's and just followed my passions. I started getting just little nuggets of information about the still house up here and fell in love with it. I love how we make whiskey here. And that's something I can't wait to talk to people about.
But there's one underlying thing that had to happen for this to become a career, for you to be put into this position, for you to be vaulted into this position. You had to be and have to be a good whiskey maker. And your reputation comes with that you, like Chris Fletcher, the master distiller, Jeff Arnett, who just was prior to Mr. Fletcher, both have told me that you are an unbelievable whiskey maker. So that's why you got the job. And I know you're a woman, and I think that that's unbelievable, but the first and foremost, you're an unbelievable whiskey maker. How does that happen? How does somebody become an unbelievable whiskey maker? There's a lot of history and run and shine and making whiskey in these hills that we sit in right now, but how do you become a unbelievable whiskey maker? Isn't it just making whiskey? Isn't it just alcohol? Like what personally have you done to become an unbelievable whiskey maker?
I feel like, number one, being here at Jack Daniel's, honestly, it's more than just making whiskey. I'm carrying on something that probably over 24 of my family members have done past and present that have worked here at Jack Daniel's. I mean, how did I become a good whiskey maker? I definitely attribute that to my mentors at the still house. They passed on their passion to me. They showed me the things that they absolutely loved about it, and they sat with me until I understood everything at that distillery. They really helped me grow into the distiller that I was. They pushed me harder and harder to be good at distilling whiskey and learning the entire process. I think having great mentors and a drive to work hard, I mean, that's how a passion grows, just like it did for Jack. His mentor helped him find his passion for the rest of his life near a screen. So, I mean, I feel like, Jack never kept a diary of any sort, but I know how I feel about my mentors and how much those guys helped me, that I want to make them proud and show them respect for the rest of my life, just as Jack did for his mentor.
Okay, so when you start talking about what Jack did and what the distillers before you that came before you did you have a good idea before you started working here what the culture was like? And secondly, did you know what Tennessee sour mash whiskey was before you started working here? And at the end of this answer, please give us the rundown of what sour mash is.
So, sour mash, what was the first part of the question? One more time. Three-part.
Yeah, did you know, before you had this job, did you know the culture of Jack Daniel's, and did you have a good understanding with all of that, all of those mentors, all of those 24 family members? Was it embedded in you all throughout your childhood and your upbringing?
Honestly, Jack Daniel's, I mean, it's just a household name around here. You don't really even think twice about it. It is almost taken for granted until you start getting into a position like this, that you see how much everybody loves Jack Daniel's in all corners of the world. So I can't say it was really ingrained in me. Maybe it was, and I just didn't really realize it. Because, I mean, they just talked about work. It wasn't getting me ready to come to Jack Daniel's. They just talked about their day-to-day. So I didn't know that I was going to work here at Jack Daniel's when I grew up. It just kind of happened to be something that I was absolutely passionate about. The multi-part questions are throwing me off.
I just don't understand how you differentiate sour mash whiskey from Tennessee whiskey, or is all Tennessee whiskey sour mash? And then is it completely different than bourbon, which is in the neighboring state of Kentucky? What is sour mash? And did you have an idea of educated on that recipe or what sour mash was before you started working here?
Really I didn't. I mean, you always see sour mash on the label, and it's pretty much that you're taking some of one batch that you are currently distilling and you're putting that into the next batch that you are mashing. So that's actually the souring part, is bringing down the pH in the mash, and that is making it kind of a continuing on the flavor from the last batch to the next, and so on and so on. I did not really know that when I came here. A lot of the training here is on the job, and there's so much more that goes into making whiskey than I ever thought went into it. Walking in that door, in my mind, you're like, okay, you mix some grain together with some water, you put it with some yeast, and then you distill it. There's so much more between that. The difference in Tennessee whiskey and bourbon, we follow all the same laws. We could be called a bourbon. But the one thing, other than being made in Tennessee, is our charcoal mellowing process, which y'all got to see yesterday, where we make our own charcoal here on site. And then we put that in our charcoal mellowing vats. It is 10 solid feet of charcoal that this whiskey is dripped through slowly. And that goes in clear, comes out clear at 140 proof. And it just works as a filter, absorbing some of the corn oils and grainy notes, really making it a more mellow whiskey. That process right there is what makes us stand apart from bourbon. Now, we could just pretty much put a briquette of charcoal in a 10,000-gallon tank and still say it was charcoal mellowed. But we are using the process that, yet again, is something that has been passed down from generation to generation of distillers, all the way from back in Jack's day. This was called the Lincoln County process. Yeah.
When you think about the yeast part of that and the alcohol part of that, tell me a little bit about how you can trace this back to prohibition, and is that really possible that this recipe can be traced back with scientific proof that y'all are still doing it the same way that Jack did it originally?
Right. So now prohibition was after Jack. That's when his nephew had taken over before prohibition and continued it on. So in 1938, when you could make whiskey back in Tennessee, Lem Motlow actually started this distillery back up and insisted on doing it the same way that his uncle did, which he had worked with pre-prohibition. So back in those days, they didn't really know about yeast and stuff like that back in 1938 and the 40s. So what they would do is, when they had a fermenter that was working really hard, it was really active, then they would take pretty much a jug and fill it up with the active beer, mash, and yeast mixture, and put that in the creek, let it get cool, and put it into the next one. So that really continued on, continued the cycle of them using, I'll say, the same over and over from one batch to the next, until technology kind of evolved a little bit and people started learning about yeast and what really it needed to be happy, for better terms. So from then, they'd start getting through the microscopes and isolating the specific yeast cells that contributed to the flavor of our whiskey. And that's how we have still the same flavor that we had produced so many years ago.
When you talk about the flavor of Jack Daniels, and Leith, I want you to talk about this too, but do you remember, Leith, the first time you ever tasted Jack Daniels? And Lexi, after he answers that, does it taste the exact same today? And I know that things change per barrel and everything, but we're talking a long run of this recipe for this Tennessee sour mash. Does it still taste the same as it did when Jack first started making it? And then, each master distiller through the generations. Do you remember your first taste of Jack Daniels? And because I know you're a fan of Jack, and why? Why do you like it? Do you remember it? How long have you been drinking it, Lee?
Yeah, my dad was he was pretty loose on parenting, for lack of a better way of putting it. So he would take us fishing, and we would always he would always have a little pint or something stashed in somewhere. But actually, before that, I remember my Uncle Boot would always he would hide a pint because he didn't want he lived with my grandmother, for my dad's mother, my mamaw, actually, for a little bit, and he would tell us where it was and if we would go get it for him. So we would go get it, and he would fill the cap up, and that would be our retrieving reward. So that was, man, my family's got great morals. But I tell you, it allowed, it made me respect things, and I think parents these days don't need to go by that a little bit. That way kids won't hide it. If you can, do it with them, and then you can actually teach them responsibility while, But yeah, that was my first. I was probably preteen. Preteen. I'd get a little cap full, Maybe he was trying to keep us from drinking to see how rough it was, because when you're 10, 11 years old, that burns. Still burns. Yeah, you ain't ready for it. But yeah. But then going into high school, we would start mixing it with a little Sprite. But man, my first knowledge of Jack Daniels was right off the cap of the bottle. Uncle Boot. Thanks,
Uncle Boot.
God rest his soul.
But it is a tradition of quality that keeps it. Stories like that. It's the history of this brand. Could you imagine how many stories there are like that?
Oh my gosh,
out there? And in my family, it was kind of the same thing, that you would see it, you would witness it, that it was, it was an adult time thing. But I was brought up the same way that Leith is talking about. But that flavor that you get out of Jack Daniels is unlike any other whiskey out there. And I know that the process is 100% built on quality control and not cutting corners, but that recipe is so much different, and it's smooth, it's flavorful, it's fruity, but it's still got some pepper, some spice to it a little bit. When I talked to Chris, he said you're almost dead on with your description of what Jack Daniels does, but I've always been a Jack fan. Way before I worked with him, I was always a fan of Jack because of the flavor. Not to mention the culture of the company is unbelievable, right? With the label and the logo and all that. But it's just a good whiskey, whether you want to sip it. And then you got the entire line of what you guys do with the single barrel and the gentleman's and the flavors and all of that. What is it about that flavor? Is there bananas in Jack Daniels? Is there apple juice in Jack Daniels, Lexi?
There's not. That's actually the fruity flavors that you're talking about is coming from the yeast. So that's developed during fermentation. When the yeast are eating the sugars within there, it develops esters, and that's really what you're tasting in that. And I love the peppery that's from the rye. That's its influence. And, of course, the amazing barrel character. But I can't wait to tell the barrel man that you brought up the flavors from my side instead of the barrel side. The yeast and the rye are the ones that you brought up. So I'm pretty excited about that.
You're going to tell Kevin that? Yeah. He's not going to give me an internship now.
Oh, I don't know. We can work you in somewhere.
The barrel, you bring up the barrel man. The barrel process is another phenomenon that blows my mind, first with how many barrels of Jack Daniels there are on this property. Do you have a guess, Leith, of how many barrels are on this property in Lynchburg?
Tommy said something about one of the buildings this morning when we were in the Turkey Woods. He pointed up there, and I think he said 22,000.
Around 20,000 in a warehouse.
Each warehouse, and there's 90 warehouses.
Oh, there's more than one.
There is more than one, yeah.
And there's that many in each one?
That's it. On average, I think they stay around 75, 80% full just because of how it turns over.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's around what they can hold.
So 90 times that.
Yeah. So each warehouse, if it was at 20,000 barrels at 53 gallons apiece, that's almost 2 full Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Per warehouse. Of whiskey.
Of whiskey, yeah.
That's aged at least 4 years per barrel.
Yes.
A lot of them 7 years.
Yep.
But at least 4.
At least 4, yes.
So we're talking...
Is that the green label? What's the green label?
So everything is aged at least the 4, but the green label is going to come off of the lower floors because it's going to have a lighter color.
Yeah.
The barrel, its influence is really where it sits in the warehouse. Your single barrel is going to come off your top floor, just because there's the
heat.
Yes, the heat and the cold is more extreme up there. Getting the whiskey in the wood pores and then pushed back out when it gets cold, and that's what's giving you 100% of your color in every one of our products. And I'm gonna give Kevin 70% flavor. 30% is going to be on the new make side.
But that, what we're looking at right now, goes into the charcoal as clear as water.
Yep.
Comes out of the charcoal as clear as water.
Yep.
Goes into the barrel and comes out looking like that.
Exactly.
So that barrel is pretty awesome.
It really is. It really is. It has a huge impact on our whiskey. And it's a really cool thing that the barrels, what we can do with those. So I know y'all have seen some of the Tennessee Tasters line, kind of like our experimental line. So what we've done with some of those is we'll take a fully aged Jack Daniels that you're thinking of, and then we may put it in another kind of barrel or finish it with another kind of wood. Maybe put some staves of Jamaican allspice or hickory in there, and then let it sit for another 6 months to a year to impart that flavor. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with the wood on the finishing side of the whiskey, and that's a lot that I'm learning about with innovation in this new position that is actually really exciting. Because I mean, we're starting with something with an amazing liquid. You know, it's going to be pretty much good, whatever we want to do with it, depending on somebody's flavor, taste, however you want to taste it. So the innovation side's pretty neat.
Lexi, what is the correct way to taste whiskey?
The correct way to taste it.
Is there a correct way? Is there a process? Do you put it on your, like there is a correct way to, you know, with wine, the aeration, you smell it, you get all the flavors in your nose, you slurp it and let the air into your mouth at the same, and get the air in there. How do you taste whiskey? I know a little bit about it, but is there a process that you would tell somebody or instruct somebody to follow to get the real flavor or the real experience? Would it be an experience of that whiskey?
An experience, yeah. Because I know when we do barrel tastings, there will be 3 separate barrels that, if you're picking a barrel, that you'll get to choose from. And so getting ready for those, we normally taste at the proof that the barrel is that the bottle is going to be. So if you're buying a 94 proof, we're going to taste it at that, to where you can add water if you want to. Our one big suggestion is to taste it the same way on each sample. A lot of people will smell each one of them, and you kind of pick out your smells before, because after you taste, it really starts smelling a little different. So if you smell then taste, then smell then taste, it's going to be different than if you smell each one almost on a fresh nose. And sometimes you will get a little, it's like your nose almost gets a little overwhelmed. If you smell the back of your hand, then that really helps kind of reset with your own smell. And then when you are smelling, just crack your mouth just a little bit because it's letting the air flow from the whiskey pretty much over through your mouth and through your nose, and it gives you a more all-encompassing aroma. And just do each one the same way. And depending on adding just a little bit of water does open it up a little bit sometimes and changes the flavor. So it really depends on how you're going to drink that barrel. If you're going to mainly drink it neat, then you're probably just going to taste it neat. If most people are going to add water to it or a little ice, then you may want to taste it like that. I really feel like everybody is a professional taster because what I taste may not be what you taste. Our taste buds have been built completely different through our whole lives. So really, everybody's a professional taster.
So when you talk about the nose and doing them all at once, because of if you do a smell and then a taste, it might not do the same because once you taste it, it changes the smell. Your mouth's not ready for that taste either. So is it fair to come back to the first one?
Always.
Because the first one might shock your taste buds or whatever that experience is. So the second and the third give you a little bit more of a fair profile of what you're tasting on your tongue and then over your tongue down into your throat, where the first one's got to get another chance because that might have just put your mouth into shock to start with.
Exactly. I mean, you are a professional taster already.
I'm not a professional taster.
That really is that is a huge point because most of the times when we're doing our tastings, we say, this may be the highest proof you've had today, because a lot of times I'm doing the barrel proof ones and they're like 125 to 135 proof. So always give that first one a chance to pretty much wake your mouth up, because your mouth is going to be a little shocked at the first sip of any alcohol, no matter what the proof is. So it just really wakes everything up, and then you're good to go for the next few flavors, and then just go back to that first one. Water, I feel like, always has to be involved to cleanse through the palate and just rinse out and wait a minute, let it all calm back down, and then go to your next one.
So when you're talking about the barrel program here, we're talking about single barrel selections, right? So you have, this is actually a bottle of the rye, which you had a big part in this project, single barrel. The barrel program, you can't get that with Old Seven, you can't get it with Gentleman, but there's something now out there that I witnessed this week called barrel proof. And I did a tasting with Mr. Kevin, a.k.a. Barrel Man, and he said, I want you to do a tasting with me, Chad. And I said, okay, I'll do one with you. And it was kind of, it was almost like he wanted to take an iodine dispenser, and just like put a drop on my tongue. What is barrel proof and why is it even bottled? And who came up with this idea? Is it something to where there's nothing that happens? Is there something that happens to a regular single barrel after it leaves the barrel before it goes into the bottle that doesn't happen with barrel proof?
Yeah, so the barrel proof, since it is a single barrel product, the single barrel select and barrel proof, which the select is just the cut down, I believe 94 proof. And so the barrel proof has not been cut with water. So that's really the biggest difference. It's going to give you more options as to, it has a bolder flavor, which a lot of people love. I mean, we are in a whiskey lover's time. There's been a huge whiskey boom that people are very interested. They really like the higher proofs and they really like the bold flavors. So we came out with this just a few years ago, and I'm really glad we did because it's a higher proof. It's something, as with all of our products, it's something just to sip. But you can add water to cut down to whatever flavor you want. The more water you add, the flavor is going to change a little bit. So to me, there's a lot more in a bottle of barrel proof. There's a lot more flavor, and people absolutely love that.
And when we're talking proof of the barrel proof, what is the proof of the barrel proof?
It is between 125 and 135. I think I've seen a 138. And it is actually so smooth for that proof. People can normally never pick out that it is that high. Everybody is always shocked. 138
proof, so that means that it is 60 65, 70, not quite 70%
Almost
alcohol.
70, yeah.
Almost 70% alcohol.
Yeah, so that's actually on the top floors of the warehouse. It's kind of crazy, but on the top floors of the warehouse, those barrels will gain proof because the whiskey goes into the barrel at 125. On the lower floors, it may actually lose a little proof. It's a little more moist down there and a little cooler. And something about those top floors, it just really condenses all those flavors in there and gains proof. So we're almost at what we distilled off at, which is 140 proof.
In your personal life, Miss Lexi, are you a whiskey girl?
I am. Always a whiskey fan.
Okay, so is it kosher to talk about, do you prefer anything? I know you love Jack, but
Of course.
do you like others? Do you like bourbons?
I've tried a lot of different things. Of course, Jack is always going to be my number one.
So give me an idea of preferences in cocktails. I'll give you some instances, and I want you to tell me where you're at with it. Backyard barbecue, ribeye steaks, you and your husband, Josh, he was awesome. What are you drinking with that dinner?
I'm probably going to have, let's see, maybe an old-fashioned
With
single barrel.
Single barrel, old-fashioned, with bitters.
Yep. Bitters, a little bit of orange juice in there, squeezed, and a little bit of simple syrup.
A little bit of simple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do a little bartending back in the day when I first moved to Nashville. I used to get complimented on my old fashions.
Oh, really?
I mean, I really did.
I'm not doubting it. What was your secret?
That's it.
I would just take pride in the muddling. You know, I would really muddle my oranges and my cherry in there and do just the right amount of bitters. A little sugar cube. And oh man, yeah, I can. Makes me want one right now.
That does sound good. Okay, so what would be the time for, if you're out with the girls at an Eric Church concert, do you have a Jack and Coke on a party night? Do you ever mix Jack Daniels, Lexi?
I do with water. I'll have, I do like lemon water and a little bit of Jack. I do like that. I do drink Jack and Cokes, but I can't say I do it often. I'm not real big on the sugar.
When will you drink Jack Apple?
Jack Apple, I think, so my husband actually loves the flavors. And he will, this sounds crazy because I feel like a broken record, but he mixes those with ice water. It almost cuts the sweet a little bit, and they are a very light drink to me for the summertime.
The honey too? Is there anything that you can tell us of any more flavors that might be on the horizon for Jack?
You know, I'm not real sure. I know the apple is so new that it is just blowing up right now. I think we'll probably hang out with it for a while because it's doing great. It is a really good product. Has that green apple flavor. It's pretty good.
I like just the Christmas time drink. My brother and I, we always do just apple juice and number 7.
Oh, yeah.
That's the my traditional Applejack.
I like that.
What is the Christmas bottle of Jack Daniels? What is that?
The Winter Jack?
The Winter Jack. What is that one?
It's kind of like a cider, a low-proofed cider mixed with Jack.
Have you ever seen that bottle?
It's
Is
pretty
it white?
cool.
It's
It is
slightly
white,
white,
yeah.
No,
Kind of like with a winter scene on it.
Okay. I don't think I've tried it. Sounds pretty good.
It's pretty
I
good.
like ciders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
what about with eggnog? You ever mix it with eggnog?
That's our family Christmas, yeah.
Yeah.
Eggnog and boiled custard. I'm more of an eggnog girl, but my family is boiled custard.
I like both.
With Jack.
with Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, you've got to try that one.
I never have. So you just mix Jack with just cut the eggnog or cut the Jack with eggnog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never had that?
No.
Oh man, have you ever had any kind of whiskey or bourbon with eggnog?
No.
Have you ever had eggnog? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do you like eggnog?
Okay.
I'm a fan.
I can do like 2 because they're
It is
so thin.
heavy.
It's like it's
Yeah.
heavy and sweet. So
It's more of a dessert thing.
yeah, we do like 2, and then we move on to the Apple Jacks
Yeah.
during Christmas if we if we keep going, if the night's continuing, you know.
Yeah.
Now, if you're continuing on a party night, Lexi, and I'm not saying that you party, but let's say that a shot comes up, do you like to shoot Jack Fire?
The Jack Fire, it is good. I can't say I'm real big on shooting. I'm more of a sipper, but it is good cold, and I can sip quickly. But I'm definitely not one to throw it to the back of the tongue. So I'm maybe half shots at a time.
Since your time on this campus, in this property, have you become a hoarder of whiskey? Do you have a collection that would blow my mind?
I have to say I'm more of...
I'm developing a cough over here, sorry.
It is not Good Friday yet. We have collected some whiskey. You know, me and my husband both work in here. As he is alluding to, every month we do get our free bottle of Jack Daniels. It is the first Friday of every month.
Bartender.
But, you know,
funny.
with...
Is it first Friday or last Friday of every month?
First Friday.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
No.
Wait, what is the date?
Wednesday.
Are we close enough?
Today's Wednesday, so it's 2 days. Sorry.
Are we close enough?
Close enough. Close enough.
You need to stay here 2 more days.
I could stay here every day.
You're 2 days away.
For a free bottle.
One whiskey
That's it.
away.
One whiskey away. Oh, God.
With
That's
2 days and one whiskey away.
Let's talk about... So, I've always accredited this man right here as being, like, he's an amazing songwriter. He truly is. You've heard some of his stuff
I
today.
have. I'm falling in love with it.
So I'm going to have him sing some songs today, 2 of them to be exact. But how many songs do you think you've written with the word Jack in it? I know One Whiskey Away has Jack actually in the song. Mm-hmm. I wonder how many songs have been written with Jack in it. Not just about Jack, but with Jack in it. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Way more than any other brand in the world.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. It's an icon.
Way
And
more.
and the fact that it's just an easy rhyme, you know, it's got that going for it. Like doers. I mean, where are you going to rhyme with doers?
Doers.
Who even likes doers?
I don't know what Doers is.
What?
I don't know what the Doers
Well,
is.
nobody needs to know what that is anyway. I know you can't rhyme worth a damn. Fewer.
So if
Fewer, more
you're a, we were talking about Lexi's, you know, her walkout song. If you're a UFC fighter and you're the assistant distiller here now, and you're coming out and you're getting ready to go to work and you got your headphones in, are you a classic rock? Are you a Guns N' Roses, Metallica? Are you a Eric Church country only? Are you a bluegrass fan? What is in your ears, Lexi?
Man, I gotta say, I grew up on classic rock. I think it'll always be pretty close to home. Country too. I do like older country, like 90s country, what I grew up in.
Is that older's country?
Well, it is to me.
I guess it is now.
It's different compared to today's country.
It's way better.
It's different. And there are some, I mean, I really feel like I have a very, I guess, eclectic mind for music because I can listen to just about anything depending on the mood of the day.
So which hip hop do you prefer then?
Okay, not everything.
I kind of figured that was coming.
Yeah, not quite everything.
All right, so this is a song that is one of like, you go into a bar and you go there with a reason of just having a beer with a buddy. And then one thing leads to another. And the next thing you know is that somebody you see walks in and they're like, hey, Leith, let me get you a Jack. And then that one beer bar visit turns into a Nashville night, which is an awesome night.
It is.
This song's called One Whiskey Away. This is my request. I'm like the DJ right now. So this is called One Whiskey Away, Lexi. This can be one of your walkout songs as the distiller here.
I can't wait.
This is my go-to. This is my go-to Leith Lofton whiskey song. He's got one other one after this too.
Perfect.
I just came in here to have a couple beers with a buddy that was feeling low. One thing led to another, that other was a shot. Got us where we wanted to go. You can only go so far on a good beer buzz. Don't like whiskey, but I loves what it does. The band kicked in, booze did too. Got that looking good, feeling good, pretty good mood. I ain't crazy, but on any given day, I'm just one whiskey away. Oh, girl in the corner better go on and stop, looking like she likes what I look like. 'Cause that big old boy she's got hung on her arm look like he don't like me much as she might. I ain't here to dance, ain't here to fight. If we go another round, hell, I just might. 'Cause the band kicked in, booze did too. Got that looking good, feeling good, pretty good mood. Y'all, I ain't crazy, but on any given day, I'm just one whiskey away from saying, hey, wasn't me, it was the Jack. Y'all, I can hold my liquor till it don't hold me back. Somebody hold me back, 'cause the band kicked in, booze did too. Got that looking good, feeling good, pretty good mood. I ain't crazy, but on any given day, I'm just one whiskey away. Yeah, yeah. I ain't crazy, but on any given day, I'm just one whiskey away. Yeah.
I love that.
Isn't that awesome?
That is awesome.
He writes all these, and the world should be hearing all these.
Yes, for sure.
Isn't that slick?
Yes, I have a new favorite song for sure.
I'm telling you, that's the best. I'm telling you, that's how I feel when I hear it. And I get that attitude to the band kicked in.
I just felt like I was
did.
jamming to it.
That's
I've got to look that up as soon as we're out of here.
That's one whiskey away, and that, you know, like you got David Allan Coe did Jack Daniels, If You Please, which is one of my favorite Jack songs. Yeah. But Eric did the one where Jack Daniels kicked my ass again last night, which is like a huge, like when he does that live, you're just like, man, that's really cool.
Right.
Yeah. But there, you know, Tennessee Whiskey was written by David Allan Coe, which is probably about Jack Daniels, you know, it's smooth. And the tattoo heritage of Jack Daniels, the number one tattooed brand in the history of the world is Jack Daniels. Number two is Harley Davidson. So if you and the only way to really get that info would probably be to take a consensus of tattoo shops and artists across the world. But Jack Daniels is number one. There's videos of, you know, guys pulling up their shirt and showing the 7 to you, but that's a pretty special brand for somebody to go, I'm gonna get that tattooed on my.
Exactly.
Millions of people have gotten the tattoo on them. And I think that the reason that people write about it so much is because they love Jack Daniels. It's the most unbelievable marketing platform that I've ever seen. It is it's free marketing for Jack Daniels, where people are like, man, that song makes me want to go drink a Jack Daniels. That song makes me want to mix a Jack Daniels. The band kicked in.
I think that's what got me kind of laid back on trying to pursue my country music career as much. Somebody may have been joking about getting a Lethal Lofton tattoo, and I had to just gracefully bow out, because I don't want to be the cause of somebody having walking around.
Hey, that's love for life, you know. Tattoo.
You know,
we have over 30 of them now, where fans send me their pictures of the Foul Life tattoo. A story goes, I was in Arkansas, and this lady comes up to me, this cute little thing, probably like 25, 30, and I was like, how you doing? She goes, my husband's too embarrassed to show you, but I'd like it if you come around the counter and I'm going to have him pull up his pant leg to show you. And I went, all right. So I walked over there. And
you didn't know where that was going?
No, nothing like that. So he pulls up his pant leg, and I have this certain lanyard that I've literally used. The lanyard's what you put your duck calls on, and it's got my bands on it. And I've had it for at least 12 years. It's one I've worn on TV forever. and he's got a tattoo of my lanyard with my bands, with my calls, with my signature, my exact signature across the duck call, and then the Foul Life logo on it. And I'm just like, geez, like, I didn't know what to say. I was like, you can't take that off, bro. Like, you can't take it off. But I got ones on my phone where one guy got his entire upper back done of ducks coming in, the Foul Life, and then one guy got it all on his forearm. And I'm just like, but think about how many people have done that with Jack and the marketing that is. I would never go, hey, we're going to have a tattoo contest. Whoever gets the best tattoo gets a free shotgun and a free truck. I would never do that. And Jack Daniels has never done that. No. People just do it at will.
That's it.
It's crazy that
they feel so strongly about what we represent.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know if there's a better logo. I don't know if there's a more copied logo. Rock and roll bands, posters, shirts, all of it. That old number 7 logo, which is a story in itself, which I think I got pretty close to it yesterday with Chris.
Yeah.
The 7 train. I talked to you about the 7 train out of St. Louis. But there's a lot of other rumors out there what old number 7 means. It's weird to me that there's no history behind like a certain vat or a certain whiskey hold barrel or something that is the old number 7. There's no real proof of what that means.
I kind of like
a recipe.
it.
That's what I thought, but it's not.
Oh, it's
I kind of like it. It's kind of a mystery that will always be a mystery.
So it's not a recipe.
No. It's just old number 7.
It's just old number 7. Nobody knows what it means. There's people that have heard stories that have been passed down generationally, but there's no like documented proof of what 7 is.
Oh yeah, well I've been telling people wrong thing.
Hey, it could be
no,
right.
I don't
you
know if I've
never
ever
know.
told anybody that, but I thought somebody told me on the tour that it was the 7th try at doing it.
It could have been the 7th try. It could have been that his 7th lady was his favorite. It could have been the 7th train that it was on, the 7th barrel that somebody wrote and said they wanted some more of that old number 7.
Okay.
Nobody will know. Wow. But I do love that part. I do.
I think it's cool.
I do too.
Because I would have guaranteed with a puffed out chest that I knew. Oh yeah, I know exactly what number 7 is.
Yeah, because I mean, just your hat doesn't even say Jack Daniels on it, but you walk around, people know.
Oh yeah.
That's a Jack
it's that
Daniels
icon.
hat. Yeah.
It's that icon. That 7.
That's it. You can see.
A lot of people think that he was, religious. The Bible, 7's the lucky number. It's mentioned in the Bible a lot. That number 777 has been said to be the number of the Lord. So like that plays a rumor into it too. That could be a part. There's no truth. There's no like document like this is it, right?
There's no hardcore evidence
that this is it.
Yeah.
Think about building a brand on that though. That nobody knows. They think they know what that 7 is.
That's it. We're gonna roll with it though. Let's go, guys. Roll with it.
It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Exactly.
I'm sticking to it.
Very cool.
So, as this new position, have you found yourself sleeping a little less? Are you nervous? Are you pressured? Is it everything that you thought it would be to become? You're becoming talked about. We walked through the tour yesterday. I watched 3 different individuals point at you. One gave you a standing ovation where she said, "This is Lexi." Then the other guy started going like this, and he was behind glass, and he made everybody look at Lexi walk. It was like Mike Tyson walking out for a fight, and I'm like, man, this girl is a celebrity. She's signing stuff now. But is the pressure there, Lexi? Are you a pressured person, a perfectionist that you want to perform daily? And is your blood pressure a little bit higher now? Are you breathing? Are you at ease with it?
I'm becoming at ease with it. Like I said, I mean, public speaking was never something that I was all in about. I'm a distiller. So that's something that I'm getting a lot more used to. People just randomly waving, saying, "Hey, thank you. This is awesome. I'm so proud of you." And I've never met these people. It feels weird, but it makes you feel really good. I'm smiling, I'm waving back. The supervisor at the distillery, he was one of my mentors, and he picks on me from time to time. That's what kind of relationship we had. For some reason, I have this weird nervous tick that if somebody says something, I may do like a half curtsy. I think that's just a nervous tick that I do. I think some of the tour guides love that when they spur that one. So I'm getting better about not doing that. But I mean, really, I just want to give respect to the brand. at first I was afraid I was going to say something wrong, but it's, you can't say anything wrong. I know what we do here. It's just putting it into the right words where everybody can understand the point I'm trying to get across. So it's definitely feeling a lot better. At first I was pretty nervous because it's big shoes to fill, It's changing history. The first woman here.
But not just the first woman. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not educated in chemistry, are you?
No.
I mean,
was
to
an
me,
ag business.
And Chris is a chemist.
Yep.
And distilling is chemistry.
Right.
It's a science project.
I'm going to throw in a little art, too. I'm on the art side.
But think about what you're doing. At one time, I heard a rumor that you were a waitress at a local cafe here.
Yeah, that was my first ever job. It was the Iron Kettle on the square. I mean, let's see, 16 years ago, I waited on the maintenance men that are still here today. And I had no clue that it would be full circle. I'd be calling them in the middle of the night to come help us fix something at the distillery. So, yeah, that was my first ever job. Family ran that place, too. So, I guess I've always worked around people. It's just a little different.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. Went from serving them pancakes to
exactly
making their whiskey for them.
Yeah. I could still probably tell you what half those guys drank for lunch on sweet tea or water or the half and half. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been down there. I was part of the coffee bet the other day with the old sheriff. He got all flustered. He said he threw his pad in the air and just sat down. He was the other old man in there frustrated the heck out of him. They play a game there every morning to buy your coffee. The goal is not to win, because if you win, you have to buy everybody in the restaurant's coffee.
Yeah.
But it's like a throwback. It's like taking a step back in time. It's like being like maybe Hazard, of what Hazard would have been like. Bo and Luke Duke, hood sliding, getting into the General Lee. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the General Lee on microphone.
Better watch it.
I better watch.
I don't know about that.
I better take that back. I take it back. Lord, I apologize. I said General Lee. Generally speaking, I don't know what else to say except like I would like to nerd out with you, but I want to do that more on probably a film deal to where I get to nerd out with you someday and make a barrel and make it go through the whole process and then even bottle it and then have one with you and toast. I've already got to toast with you and drink a little bit of Jack Daniels. But I think that this is one of those things to where you have a big shoes to fill and you have a huge opportunity here, not to just create a great livelihood for yourself and your husband Josh, but you're going to be very influential and inspirational to a lot of people, not just young ladies either. A lot of people are going to be looking at you like, if she can do it, I can do it. There's not a better American success story. If I can do it, you can do it. You've heard that a million times. You're walking proof of this.
If I can somehow inspire one person to do something that they're passionate about, I feel like it's a success.
Well, I think you already have, because Leith wrote this song. It's called Whiskey Business, and you inspired this song. You've been inspirational to Leith Lofton. Have you ever met anybody named Leith? That's like Keith, but with an L.
Yeah.
Speaking of Keith, Keith Richards was one of the big celebrities.
Yep.
Frank Sinatra called it the nectar of the gods on stage a lot. He had to have 2 fingers on 3 ice cubes every concert. Keith Richards was another huge proponent, rock god of the Rolling Stones, that was all Jack Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
That's 2 heavyweights right there, right? Yeah. Is Keith Richards a good guitar player?
He's pretty fair. Fair to middling. I mean, he might not get kicked out of my band. I don't know. I definitely use him as a backup.
There you go.
They said that when the world ends, there's going to be 2 things living: cockroaches and Keith Richards.
It's the Jack Daniels. That's what it is.
I'm telling you, it's got to be, man.
Embalmed.
Embalmed. This is called Whiskey Business, and this is probably a little bit, you're probably going to think of your family members a little bit on this.
Probably so.
Probably think that I'm up to no good, dragging your ass way back up in these woods. I'll pull the blindfold off your eyes when I get close enough to see the fire. Can't have you talking, can't afford a witness. Up in these hills, it's whiskey business. You're probably gonna meet my whole damn family. Too soon for you to be coming home with me. But there's a reason why we're moving this fast. They just finished up a brand new batch. We gotta get there and move it with the quickness. That's the way it is when you're in a whiskey business. Don't ask questions when I hand you a shotgun. Getting caught by the law, man, ain't no fun. Be on your toes, always be ready. Got to stay one step ahead of 'em, baby. No second chances, ain't no forgiveness. Up in these hills, it's whiskey business. You here cause I know you're gonna love it. Here's your one chance to back out of it. This ain't no game, no room for bluffing. Got to be all in, all nothing. If you're gonna run, you better get to getting. If you stick around, it's gonna be whiskey business. Well, now don't ask questions if I hand you a shotgun. Get caught by the law, man, ain't no fun. Be on your toes, always be ready. Got to stay one step ahead of 'em, baby. No second chances, ain't no forgiveness. Up in these hills, it's whiskey business. Well, no second chances, ain't no forgiveness. Up in these hills, it's whiskey business.
Good night.
That's awesome. Yes.
Are those two good songs
Those
about whiskey
are great.
right there?
I love them. I have 2 walkout songs now.
I think the next party on the hill at Barbecue Hill, we bring Letha up.
Yeah.
And jam.
I think that would be awesome.
There's more. There's so many more.
I bet everything I've heard so far is great.
There's at least 60, I would say. 60 songs you've recorded?
Songs?
Do you think you've recorded 60?
60 good ones?
They're all good.
I bet they are. I bet you're the most critical one of your work.
He
so
is.
I bet they are all good.
No, he's got solid songs. I mean, those two right there are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Up in these hills. Oh, man.
That's the old one.
I know. But no, it wasn't. She inspired you to write it today.
Wrote that on the spot right
Wrote
here.
that
At least
on the
10 minutes
spot.
old.
Whiskey business. I love it.
What is there left to do? What is the end game? And I know that the right answer, the politically correct answer is you're right where you're supposed to be. You had no idea, even when Mr. Jeff Arnett left, unexpectedly, really.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had just talked to the man.
Yeah.
Just did a barrel tasting, with him and chose a barrel. You had no idea you'd be sitting here in April of 2021. But now that you are, Lexi, do you want to become the master distiller? Are there goals? And I know that you don't think that you're better than Chris Fletcher or anybody that's become before you, but is this a goal for you now to become the master distiller at Jack Daniel's?
I mean, I feel like there's still so much to learn from Fletcher. I think anybody would think that would be an amazing job. But, truly right now, we're both where we need to be. He has so much family in this as well that, he is the master of the history, the process, all of it, because he's been doing this for really almost 2 decades, I believe. So, I have a whole lot to learn up to before I can get there. But maybe one day.
I was going to ask you if I started a whiskey company, if I could get you away from Jack Daniel's.
Oh, no, now.
No way? No way?
Man, I'm pretty loving it here. I'm pretty partial to the family traditions.
Huh?
I'd rather ride shotgun on a number 7 than, be in the driver's seat on the
cool.
number 2.
That's kind of a cool song. I'm riding shotgun on the number 7. Took one sip and it took me to heaven.
There you
Come on in here with me.
I can't quit to go working for number 2. I don't care what you want me to do.
It just comes so quick. I cannot keep it going.
On. I'm gonna stay right here in Lynchburg.
Now that was written right here, right
That
now.
was written right here, right now. Lexi, you're awesome.
Oh, good. Dude, this
She
has been
reminds
so
me
much
of
fun.
a whiskey. Not that girl drinks whiskey too. I mean, she loves some Jack
Ashley
Daniels.
McBride?
She reminds me of a distiller's version of Ashley McBride.
Me
Oh,
too. I
really?
thought that yesterday.
Yeah.
I said
Oh, how cool.
she's bad to the bone.
Really?
Oh my God, she's one of my favorite female artists.
Yeah.
She's
How
got to be right
cool.
there, number one.
Do you know of Ashley?
Yeah, she's actually done, let's see, some online stuff with us where she did a virtual show for Jack
Yeah.
Daniels. And no, that's pretty cool. Of course, I've never got to meet her,
She's
but
a good
that's
friend
pretty
of
cool.
mine.
Leith has written some hammers with her.
Really?
He's got one called Out on the Water. Or
Better on the
Better
water.
on the Water.
And
Better on the water.
looking for a buzz.
And Looking
Yeah.
for a Buzz.
Okay.
Hammers. Like, should be number one. She released one. No, she put one on the record.
2.
Both of them?
Those 2, yeah.
Okay.
And that some days is she and I wrote that on my record, my new record.
Some days.
Some
Unbelievable
days.
song.
Yeah.
I can't wait to check all
You're
these
sitting
out.
in the presence of country music royalty.
Man, I know. I didn't know.
As
This
good
is
as Merle
awesome.
Haggard.
I can feel it. Yeah.
I've been throwing horseshoes over my
As good as
left
George
shoulder. That's Merle Haggard. That ain't no George Jones. Did you
I
say
said
George?
you're as good as George Young.
I'm like the possum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I'll tell you who is good, though, is Jamie Johnson.
He's good.
He is good.
He's my favorite voice, I think, of all time.
He is really good.
So, are we not having a cocktail to end this podcast? I thought that would be kosher. I don't hear any ice. I haven't heard any ice shaking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't you have a bartender where you can just ring that?
Oh gosh, how cool would that be? But no.
That would be. So, do you visit Nashville living this close to it?
I feel like we used to a lot more. You know, during COVID, we hadn't made it up there much at all.
You're gonna have issues going there now. You're not gonna be able to walk down Broadway. Oh my God, there she is. Oh gosh,
if they
there
keep
she
the mask
is.
mandate up, I'll be in the
You'll be
clear.
all right. Well, congratulations. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. Thank you for real your hospitality since we got here. The tour, Leith got your your husband's striker that I gave you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Such a cool. We're gonna give a shout out to Mr. Joshua.
Yeah.
That's it.
He was so excited.
I mean, mine still smells like whiskey.
Yeah,
That's cool.
they do. It's made out of barrel wood.
I know it smells good.
Jack Daniel's sour mash.
That's it.
Any closing words?
Please drink responsibly.
That's
Always.
the way they end it, right?
Always.
Always. Always. And for anybody that listened to the beginning of this podcast, there's a disclaimer that I would like to make. 9-year-olds should not drink Jack Daniels out of the cab.
I think that's where I was going with that too.
Oh, this was before seatbelts, folks. I mean,
There was way more safety hazards back then.
yeah.
I was like, where is he? Okay, so now we've not only broken the law, but now social services have been called.
Well, Boots passed on years ago, so good luck getting him.
R.I.P. Uncle Boots.
That's it.
All right, if you could pull one bottle right now for us to celebrate your new position, fast friends, we all became fast friends. What would it be? Virtual toast.
Single barrel rye.
Oh,
Right there.
look at that. She signed that bottle.
That's
for me.
it.
Oh, well, she should have put my name on it. It's
Two
Leith.
I'm sorry about that.
We might have to get you to sign a bottle to leave.
That's it. I think I can handle that.
You can?
Yeah.
Can we fill one and then can we go fill one and then
I wish I could.
Fill it.
go down to
Fill
the bottling plant?
I don't want to just fill it.
No, fill it up.
Fill it up.
Fill it up. Oh, did I pronounce it wrong? Fill it. Fill it
Fill
up.
it.
Feel it.
Feel it.
Feel it.
You've been down here too long.
No, this place is awesome. Y'all come visit
What's it
Lynchburg.
feel
Now-
like?
What's it feel like? It feels nice. Look at that bottle.
That's pretty.
Rye.
Yep, the rye's great.
That reminds me of a song. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, "This will be the day that I die."
Yeah.
I know that old song.
That's
Did
a good
you
one.
write the book of love, and do you have faith in God above?
Can you
If
sing the whole thing?
The whole thing.
All right, let's
I'm
get-
like that
Whole
boxer.
thing.
I'm like
How
that.
much more?
That's like a
data
12-minute
can we
song.
go?
I could rap the whole Sugar Hill Gang. The longest rap in history.
Speaking of rap, we gotta like rap.
Wrap this up.
Good time. Oh, yeah.
Y'all, that is Lexi Phillips, the assistant master distiller.
You get that cough?
I'm getting that free bottle cough.
You gotta at least tell them. Well, no, just let that be like the old 7, the old number 7.
Let me ask you this to end this. If somebody did travel here from California to visit Lynchburg, which a lot of people visit Lynchburg, can they meet the one and only Lexi Phillips? I mean, can they come in, like, is there signings? Is there going to be, like, those 3D cutouts where they can put their arm around you?
I don't know.
Do you have an agent yet? And would you like one?
I do not have an agent yet. I haven't been prepared for those questions yet, so maybe I do.
You need to get a PR rep for sure, especially if
Oh,
Chad's going to be asking you those kind of questions. But can people meet you when they come here? Or is that...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll see me around if they're coming through on the tours. You know, I'm in the Squire House sometimes. There will be signings from time to time because I know Jeff and Chris both did that. So
Oh, so people can come to the bottle house,
But
get
at
a
the
bottle.
end of the day, you
That's it.
still got a job to do. You got to work.
that's it. We are still working a little bit,
This ain't
even
a,
though it's pretty cool work.
In my opinion, this has been a podcast with the greatest female whiskey maker in the history of the world.
Thank
Lexi
you.
Phillips. The history of the world. That's a long history.
That's a long history.
Y'all enjoy Jack Daniels. Enjoy it responsibly. Never allow underage drinking, a.k.a. Uncle Boots. And thank you, Jack Daniels, for everything you do for us here at the podcast. Congratulations, Miss Lexi. Thank you, Lee Lofting, for gracing us with your picking skills, your vocal skills, your songwriting skills. Today, we were leaving. We were going into the parking lot, and Chase Rice was leaving the parking lot after our turkey hunt, and he was playing a new song that he just wrote yesterday with my brother called Handle It, day before yesterday. And I said, damn, this is good. So Chase was just walking out of his trailer. I said, Chase, come listen to this. First thing Chase said, he goes, hey, take my number and send that to me, please.
that's
how good it was.
awesome.
That's how good it was. So Lee, this is a master songwriter here. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. He's as good as they get. Thank you both for being here. This has been another episode of This Life Ain't For Everybody podcast. Thank you all so much for the downloads and subscriptions. It is truly amazing to see the growth of our audience. Brand new episodes of The Foul Life TV presented by Benelli air July 2nd, 2021 exclusively on the Outdoor Channel. Tom, Jake, hit that button, or do you want to play us out with Better on the Water? I'm either going to play What You Gonna Do When the Money's All Gone that you wrote with Drake, or you can play us out since you're live right now, Lexi, and she can hear you and Ashley McBride smash hit Better on the Water. Do you remember the words to Better on the Water? Because those words are tricky.
I'd have to look them up. I'd have to read them.
Do you want to take us out with the song, or you want me to play Money All Gone?
Just give it to them.
That one? What you gonna do when the money's... Do you want to play it live? No? Do you want me to let you go?
I got to use the bathroom.
All right, Jake, Tom, hit that button. This is Lee Lofton. What you gonna do when the money's all gone? Can you imagine he's sitting right here next to Miss Lexi and myself?
I've had to pee since we started. Before we started.
All right,
was
Tom,
talking
Jake,
about
hit
it.
that button. This is Lee Lofton. What you gonna do when the money's all gone? Thank you all.